Frogs are wet and slippery. We all know this. But the Muller's termite frog is especially wet and slippery. 3 times the typical amount, in fact. Can you guess why? It's because all throughout their skin, just under the surface, in addition to the common mucus glands, you'll also find 3 other types of glands throughout their body. There's the mixed glands, the adhesion glands, and the poison gland. All of these glands release secretions through the ducts on the surface of the skin. The mixed gland has an interesting name, mostly due to the question it asks. What is mixed with what? In the paper, Reproductive Behavior, Cutaneous Morphology, and the Skin Secretion Analysis in the Anurin Dermatinodes mulleri, it mentions various attributes as to what the liquid excreted from the mixed gland has, but never what it explicitly is. We could make an educated guess on what it says, though, of course. Like, it mentions always bromophenol blue negative. Bromophenol is a stain that detects proteins. So if it's negative, then there's no proteins in it. So it's probably either lipid-based or mucus-like. And judging by the fact that this is an amphibian, we can make an educated guess that it's likely mostly mucus-based. But that's just one of the secretions. It's mixed, remember? The other one does react to bromophenol blue, and it reacts to the PAS stain, which highlights sugars and carbohydrates. So the other secretion probably produces glycoproteins. But what does that mean functionally? Well, truthfully, I'm not sure. I think it adds to the slipperiness as a defense. If they're harder to grab, then they can slip away from predators much easier. Or potentially, the mixed gland secretion aids in the potency of their poison that's secreted from the poison gland. Potentially. Their poison glands are the biggest in their body, mostly along the top of the frog. Since they're so big, they have a lot of ample space within the gland to utilize. And utilize it they do. Each poison gland is packed full of layers of poison particles, so dense that you can't even see the normal parts of the cell underneath. Glands are usually somewhat hollow, but not these ones, which is rather scary when you consider that the poison itself causes intense pain if it ever touches your face. So if you ever touch the Muller's termite frog, and I don't recommend you do, wear gloves. And also don't touch them at all. The last of their glands, their adhesive glands, are only found in male Muller's termite frogs, specifically on the underside of the male's belly. Hearing this alone, I'm sure you can guess where I'm going with this. The gland cells are full of rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is a structure that ensures the frog can secrete the adhesive stuff constantly. It makes sense for the species too. If they're producing a secretion made for the express purpose of keeping them slippery, then how is a male going to hang on to the female during mating? Of course, by literally gluing himself to the back of the female. So that's what they do. The adhesive gland is functionally a naturally produced glue. As their name suggests, the Muller's termite frog eats mainly termites, as well as ants that are native to Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, and Argentina. Unlike most frogs native to Central South America, Muller's termite frogs are primarily fossorial. The way in which they bury themselves in the dirt is also noteworthy. Have you ever seen a frog bury themselves? Usually, like with bullfrogs or bush-billed rain frogs, they'll shake their back legs under the dirt vigorously, because that's where a majority of their muscle mass is. For the Goliath frog episode, the painting I drew showed the Goliath frog using its hind legs to push the rock into position, despite the fact that we don't have any photographic evidence of them doing it this specific way. It's a reasonable assumption, I think, because of how muscular frog legs generally are. So it's then a major surprise to me that when I hear that all of that, specifically when talking about the Muller's termite frog, should just be tossed out the window. They actually dig more like rabbits, tilting their head into the dirt and using their arms to split the ground underneath them. This digging motion is used by the Muller's termite frog to dig out small chambers for their state of aestivation, which is their state of dormancy during the dry season, where they wait quietly for the humidity to rise again. While it rains and temporary pools form in the ground, they engage in the breeding behavior we previously mentioned, when they lay up to 10,000 individual eggs. The breeding period lasts 5 days before they go back underground and wait for another window to open up, usually early to mid-May. This plan seems to have worked out pretty well for them, as their current population numbers comfortably sit at least concern. Though it is important to note that because they are underground a majority of their life, and the only time we get to recount their population numbers is during the very thin window that is their breeding season, it's rather difficult to fully understand whether they have any looming threats in their future or not. The current ideas of threats are, of course, agriculture, deforestation, and pollution in the form of runoff from agricultural sites. Is it measurably harming the species in any way? We don't really know. It's hard to say, but I can definitely imagine that being a concern in the issue of their population in the future, potentially. There's also a concern of exporting the species from Paraguay for the global pet trade, which I also can't exactly tell whether or not that's hurting them, just because not enough cases have been documented of this happening. We're not sure at this current moment, but hopefully it doesn't become a big enough issue for us to notice. For now, be careful and don't mess with the species. But that'll be it from me for today, so thank you to the Muller's termite frog, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.